Bahá'u'lláh arrived in the city of Akka at the end of August 1868. And by 1871, he was free of his imprisonment in the barracks, and he moved to this house with his family. One must remember in looking at this room that this is not the way it was in his days, because it was changed when Abdu'l-Bahá later lived here after the ascension of Bahá'u'lláh. As a matter of fact, Abdu'l-Bahá used to come and sleep in this room up to practically the very end of his life. It was in this room, which is because of this fact so very sacred to the Baha'is of the world, that Bahá'u'lláh revealed the Kitáb-i-Aqdas, which is the charter of the future world order, the future world civilization of Bahá'u'lláh, and the book that is the repository of his laws and his ordinances. You can see in this room the way Abdu'l-Bahá lived. He lived so simply. That should be a source of great encouragement to the Baha'is in many countries who themselves live under very simple circumstances. It was Abdu'l-Bahá who ended the bitterest years of his father's captivity. Although the sentence of life imprisonment was never repealed, after almost 10 years, the gate of the prison city was opened to Bahá'u'lláh. Now admired by high officials and revered by the populace who called him His Highness and the august leader, he was at last free to move about the countryside. Near Akka was a beautiful garden on an island in the river. Abdu'l-Bahá rented this for Bahá'u'lláh, who called it Rizwan, which means paradise, surely a paradise for the man, now over 60, who still bore the marks of the chains he wore 4 months in a dungeon in Tehran. Under the shade of mulberry trees surrounded by the river, this beautiful spot now became one of Bahá'u'llah's favorite retreats. On these benches, carefully preserved as shown in this old photograph, he would sit, dictating letters to his secretary or receiving pilgrims and guests. In Akka, he once told Abdu'l-Bahá, "The country is the world of the soul, the city the world of bodies." On dusty paths through the wilderness, Bahá'u'lláh sometimes moved about by carriage or riding a donkey. Though a prisoner until he died, the years of strict confinement were over. As Abdu'l-Bahá said, if his light before the days in Akka was like a star, there it became like a mighty sun. Abdu'l-Bahá at last succeeded in acquiring a worthy residence for his father, the beautiful Oriental palace at Bahji. This old photograph shows how it must have looked in those days. At this stoop, Bahá'u'lláh used to mount his donkey. It has been carefully preserved by Shoghi Effendi. About 1880, Bahá'u'lláh came to live here in what he called his lofty mansion. He occupied that corner room. His beloved son had brought him here, where he found a measure of peace during the last 12 years of his life, weary from over 30 years of perpetual persecution, imprisonment, and exile.